my YouTube family and friends. I pray that everyone is having a beautiful, blessed Saturday in the mighty name of Jesus. I'm going to turn this air down. You can't hear me. If you have not said it already, let's say it together. Thank you, Jesus, for another day. It is indeed a blessing, y'all, to be alive. And I mean that with everything I have. It's a blessing. I'm on my way to I got to get some lab work done. It's already done. I know everything gonna be fine. I just, to be honest, I feel like I'm eating too much, intaking too much sugar. So I just want to keep an eye on my levels. But I feel like I'm okay. But I mean, I don't just sit up and eat. Like it's not like I was doing before. But I feel like I drink a lot of sweet tea, and but I don't really, I don't really eat a lot either. But so I know everything's gonna be fine. It's just in my spirit to check that, because every time I go in Walgreens, I will get me I'll go in, back in the back where the medicine and stuff at, and I'll say, so I try to check on the diabetes meter. I'm like, those things are expensive, because it was probably, my late husband was living in, but it's probably been, I would say 4 or 5 years ago. So because he's been dead for 3 years. So probably like, I'm gonna say about 6 years ago, I had went to the doctor, and y'all, I don't know why. I was wanting to be, have some diabetes. Ain't that crazy? I was like, well, and I want to say he hadn't been diagnosed yet. I can't remember. Anyway, I was like, I don't know why I was wanting to be on some type of medication or something. It's a blessing to be healthy. It really is. And I don't know why I was wanting them to, because every time I would go, they would say, you're pre-diabetes or pre-level, you got levels that are showing you could possibly, but then I go back and it'll be fine. So again, we can't let these doctors have the last say so in nothing. I claim no sickness. I don't claim no none of that mess. I don't claim, because all of that is from the pit of hell. And a lot of times we say, well, the doctors know what. Yeah, they do know what they're talking about. But Jesus got all power. He got healing power in his hand. So we don't need to be worried about what the doctors say. Worry about what Jesus say. Believe the report of the Lord. That's Bible. Quit getting all. I was encouraging someone yesterday. I try to encourage the people I talk to at work, the patients. A lot of times they, it's normal. And like I was telling her, I said, it's, you're human, because she said, I just, I'm really wondering how to report. And I said, no, everything's going to be fine. I always speak that, nobody's going to come to me and I'm going to speak death into their life. I'm going to speak life into them. And I did my best, and I know the Lord was with me in that conversation and with her, because she said, you know what, thank you. She said, thank you for that. Because don't nobody, that's the issue now with the world. Everybody's doing the same stuff. Somebody got to stand out and say, you know what, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go the other way. I don't want to go the way 100 people going. I want to go by myself, or I want to go the way that 3 people going. That's going to probably be your best route, to go that way. I don't want to go with the crowd. I want to stand away from the crowd. But yeah, y'all, it's so pretty here. It's 75 degrees here. It is gorgeous here. Everybody out and about, because, normally it's cold or it's been snowing and just real dreary looking, but it is so pretty today. But anyway, so yeah, I just spoke life into her, and like the Lord wanted me to, and I felt like she, I could tell her whole tone changed, and she's like, oh, because a lot of, sometimes people, they'll look concerned, which is normal, but I said, nope, everything's gonna be fine. I was telling a man at church, he was saying he was waiting on test results or something. I forgot to ask him what the results were, but I'm assuming they were fine. But again, we gotta quit this dim grim stuff. I did go for myself too, but I'm the one always running to the doctor, and they saying everything's fine. I shared that in the video previously where I going to the hospital, doctor once or twice a month. Just silliness, because the enemy was provoking fear in my heart, in my mind. You know, you the only living parent. You know, you gonna die. You can't do that because you gonna die. You know, no. I'm gonna live long as God. He already told me I'm gonna live a long life. But I got in that living that I have to be healthy. I have to be healthy, and so that's what that's the fight, y'all. I gotta eat right, you know. And I feel like yesterday I was like, you know, I was working because I worked from 8 to 4:30, but I was like, I haven't even eaten. I got off work because what I'll do in the morning, so I'll get up and drink my chai and tea, and then I'll, you know, sip on that off and on all day. And I like to have something hot on my throat because you know, I trying to figure out which way to go, y'all. Sometimes when I'm on this camera, this video, it won't show me the directions. I don't know if it told me to turn, but it'll reroute me if I didn't do it right. But anyway, yeah, I didn't do it right. I didn't do it right. I should have kept straight, because it bothers me. It won't show you. I mean, it showed me. I didn't remember what it showed me last, but I'm gonna see. Okay, it's rerouting me. Okay, because I got somewhere to be before noon. I gotta get there before noon, and for my lap, because the order's already in, but I just gotta get there. So, but anyway, yeah, I wasn't supposed to get off of the thing. So anyway, the ramp or the highway. So what was I saying, y'all? So yeah, the enemy was provoking fear and saying, you know, you're not gonna make it. And I was going back and forth to that doctor, you know, at least once, twice a month. I remember one night I had went to the doctor, and y'all, I was so tired from working all day, working my mind, you know, because what my job is, it's a lot of thinking, and you got to use analytical skills. It's just a lot. It ain't stressful. I love it because I'm helping people, but helping patients, but it's a lot of thinking. And so, but anyway, and you got to use really good thinking skills. You know, I did that, so I got to do this. You know, it's like that. You got to do common sense. You got to do what's best, what's gonna work best in that situation. So anyway, that particular night when I went to the doctor, I was so tired, y'all. And I think it was trying to rain or something that night. And okay, it's telling me north 83. Let's see. And but I was so tired. But I pushed. As far as I can remember, I went to work the next day. But I was so tired. Making sure I get on the right. Yeah. Okay, I'm back on. I'm back. I should have kept straight, y'all. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I got off. Still getting used to this. You know, it's certain places to go here that you have to go a certain way, and if you don't go that way, you're gonna be all turned. Well, I'm gonna be all turned around because I still haven't got used to, you know, how to get different places. So yeah, that particular night, I was I was really tired and stuff, and I was just like, okay. But then, you know, the Lord was like, what are you doing? You know, you going back and forth. You ain't believing nothing I'm telling you. You know, I was just, like I said, it was fear. That's all it was, fear. I'd be sitting at my desk at work, and a little ache come on me, or even be at home at night getting ready to go to sleep, little ache come in my body. Whew, I had to go to the doctor. And just foolishness. So, you know, I said, I said, I ain't doing it no more. And I stopped doing it. And like I said, every time they come in the room, and I sit up in the room for what? You know, sit up in the bed. They take your blood pressure, do all the standard stuff they do, and nothing. Ma'am, you're fine. Get my shoes back on, go home. Made a big old bill for nothing. You know, charges for nothing, basically. But yeah, we gotta quit, you know. And then there's some people, you know, that are not just worried. You know, they not going to no doctor. They just sitting at home worrying and stressing, hair coming out, stressing their hair out and not eating and whatever. You know, they doing the other side of it. But I wanted to know. But it's still not good, because I'm costing myself money going to find out nothing, because nothing's wrong. You know, Jesus is a healer. He got me. He got you. So yeah, y'all, it's a learning. Like I said, I'm learning every day, and God knows I'm doing my utmost to do what's right and to follow Him and to do whatever He tells me to do. And I don't always get it right, but I do my best. I can honestly say, when I lay my head to pillow at night, I said, Lord, I hope I did something today that pleased you. I just, that's always my prayer. I don't care about what nobody think about me anymore. I don't care what I ain't trying to get pats on the back no more and, oh, you did. No, I just want Him to be pleased, Jesus to be pleased with me. That's all I want. And that should be ultimately what all of us want. Who cares what people think about you? They need to be making sure they right with God. So, but yeah, I just wanted to share that little tidbit there. But yeah, the Lord blessed me on this today, because I was like, well, I gotta keep straight. I was like, well, how am I gonna go get my blood work done? And the lady, she had called. Well, I had called them on last week, and that's another thing, y'all. I'm having to readjust to a lot of stuff. My late husband he was doing everything, y'all. That was not fair to him, and he was dealing with sickness too. But he just, he was just so good at everything. But that's not an excuse. But I was just lazy. I'm gonna be honest. I was just lazy, and I had him doing all that stuff that I should have been doing for me and the children. But I think he even said it to me one time. He said, "You got me doing stuff for you that I don't even know how to do it, but I'm gonna try to do it, because he knew pretty much, like, what I like. Sometimes he'll go get me something at the store, something just like woman stuff or whatever, personal items, hygiene items." But he used to say, he said, I know you, I know what you like or whatever, and which that's a blessing to have a man, a husband like that. But nobody should be carrying that load. He should not have had to carry that load by himself. That was not fair. It was totally not fair. And that's why I'm having to, just a big adjustment for me. I feel like I'm passing. But before, I was making F's at this, because, I never had to do it myself. It's a lot of stuff I'm doing now with him, being passed on, dead. Then I never had to do it, ever. Because before I met him, I had boyfriends. They did stuff for me. Everybody always did stuff for me, and that, like I said, that's not, that's not how it should be. But so yeah, I just, I forgot what I was saying. Y'all always steer off and forget what was the main topic there. Because I was talking about him doing everything for me, but making the appointment. Oh yeah, thank you, Holy Spirit. So so I called last week, and the lady, she was like, you can come. We have Saturday. We open 9 to noon on Saturday. And I said, okay. I said, well, praise the Lord. And I was so happy, because I didn't know that. I didn't know I could go home today. So I was like, yes. So that's a blessing, y'all. They accommodate. They know people. Sometimes they can't, get off during the week. And I could have probably last week, but I was like, it's too much. I don't like running around and rushing and stuff. So I said, okay, I could just take care of it Saturday. I don't have nothing to do, and I should have actually got up earlier than what I did. I've been up since I actually set the alarm for 7, but I didn't. I'm just not leaving the house, and it's every bit of going on 11 o'clock, I think, 10:30, something like that. I don't know, but I should have got on up, but I just laid there in the bed on YouTube, watching YouTube stuff, shorts and stuff. So yeah, but this shouldn't take long. The orders are already in, for my lab work, so it shouldn't. I should be in there all of 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, so tops. But I'm just trying to get there before 12, because I want to get this taken care of. And so yeah, y'all, it's just like I said, it's just a blessing. It's a few things I have not shared with you all yet. I will share one in particular. I may share within maybe next day or today or next days or so upcoming. But I'm just still trying to make sure that it's okay with Jesus before I do it. But because God is just really, he's showing, he just blessing. He blessing everybody. He just blessing me. He blessing everybody. He answering prayers. And, a lot of times we don't see his hand immediately working in our life. But all we have to do is breathe in and breathe out. And that's right there. That's the biggest blessing ever right there. You're alive. That you're alive. I shared with someone at church. It's been a while ago, but I was literally standing in the foyer area at church. I'm a greeter, and the Lord revealed to me, said, "Thank me for what I've already blessed you with." The Holy Spirit said, "Thank me," and I did. And then it was some prayers that I had prayed to Him, and He said, "I answered the prayer," and I was like, "Woo, Lord, have mercy." He did. He answered the prayer. So, we, like I said, we so focused on, the next, okay, I got this now. Okay, Lord, you said you was going to bless me with that. Okay, well, I'm waiting on, you get one thing, you waiting on 3 more. But, He don't want us to live like that. These people driving crazy on this highway, y'all. I try to be a safe driver. They just merge over into the lane, don't look. They just know that they gonna be able to get over, and they don't, they're not paying attention to nothing. It's almost like they the only car on the road. But and that's how most accidents happen. And the truck is behind me now. He just pulled over in front of me. Now he behind me. So he was trying to actually, I don't know why he got over in that other left lane, but that ain't my business. But anyway, yeah, so I just, I'm just thankful, y'all. I really am thankful for everything that the Lord has blessed me and my children with. And, people laughing at us, and, I don't know what's wrong with them, And I had a phone call or text from my mom. Y'all know I love my mom. I've shared how much I love her, but I really feel like she, I've just done no contact with them, because, I feel like, I'm just gonna be honest. How sometimes you just feel like somebody is just calling you, trying to see if they can just get a whiff of some bad news. If I can get some bad news, I can run back and tell something. And then also, with my family and also with my late husband's family, I noticed while we've been here in Colorado, they want to be the one. If somebody want to be the one, show it. It's a showboat mentality. They want to be the one to say, "Oh yeah, I talked to them," because my late husband's father, he was saying when we first moved here, a lot of people been asking about you, y'all, and so they can't make themselves look bad, saying, well. And then, the people asking them, well, how are they doing? So they can't make up, they're not going to make up nothing, And then, because some people ask details. Some people say, that, how you say, how's that, just give an example, how Miss Linda doing? And then they say, she doing fine. And then they start digging. They start asking, like, detailed questions, like, So where do they live in college? And then they can't even answer because they don't know. They haven't been, that person haven't told them nothing, and they don't need to know nothing because they ain't helping them. So, but what I'm saying is that my point is that they can't talk about something they don't know about. They can't talk about it because they don't know about it. They don't know what's going on, and they don't want to sound just crazy. Like, well, you don't know. Ain't that your dead son's family. You know, you don't know that what they doing. You know, and then other stuff start, right? You know, questions start, people start thinking other stuff. They got a strained relationship. What's going? You know, it's just they don't want to be thought of in a bad way. So they got to make themselves always faking. You know, we got fake people. They always want to make themselves look good. They don't want to look. They don't want to tell the truth. Well, I don't know what's going on. You know, just be honest. Don't nobody really care what you know, really. They nosy themselves. Whoever asking, they just being nosy, prying. But you know, and that's how people do. They feed off of each other. Negativity, snakes. But yeah. So you know, you can't talk about something you don't know about. and you know, somebody asked me something like, oh, I don't know. I haven't talked to them. But see, like I said, they're not gonna make themselves look bad. You know, they gotta be held at a certain, you know, standard. You know, I'm the grandfather. I know what. No, you don't know what's going on. You don't, and you will not know. We like I said, I'm so serious about that. I'm so, you know, I feel like I'm so nice and too nice sometimes. But the Lord is teaching me in that. There's nothing wrong with being nice and kind and all that, but don't let people take your kindness for being a fool. You know, a lot of people take advantage of you, how you are, and, you know, try to make you feel bad and stuff, and, you know, well, why you ain't talking to us? Why you ain't? And I give you a prime example. So, if they can't get to me, they texted my children, you know, and my stepfather, his birthday is coming up. He'll be 90, I believe, and so they texting them, you know, about, you know, whatever, and, you know, I can remember countless times where I was trying to, you know, what I actually did, the Lord blessed me to have him, I think he turned, I'm trying to think, y'all, 75. Yeah, he was, thank you, Holy Spirit. He was 75, he turned 75 that year. And that's been a little while ago, because he's finna be 90, 15 years ago. But he, I'm trying to see what it turned, y'all. But it was just placed in my spirit. I was so excited, y'all. I threw him at my late husband's father's church. When he was pastoring there, I threw him my stepdad a birthday party. And I remember that Saturday, y'all, I ran around. I did a video slide presentation. I mean, you would have thought that was like a grand affair. It was a grand affair for me. But in actuality, didn't nobody. But I invited. So we got family, and then some more family. In, you know, Georgia and Alabama, they all over the place. And I invited so many. Then we had, you know, quite a few in the city we were in Tennessee. And I invited so many. Get over, y'all. I invited so many of them. And I'm trying to think, the grand total that came to that his birthday party was, I think maybe 20 people were there, y'all. I know, but I had invited so many people. Family, you know, just family, and some of his people, they knew him from work or whatever, told them to come. And I actually thought, when I do stuff like that, y'all, I have great expectations. You know, I don't think of it, oh, ain't nobody gonna come. I say, ooh, it's gonna be a lot of people here. That's how I think. You know, it's just how I am. I expect the greatness. And so didn't nobody come, hardly. And it ended up raining that day. It was on a Saturday. It ended up raining, but my mom kept telling me that he kept asking questions, and you know, I was telling my late husband, I was so excited about that. You know, I was doing the slide presentation and doing the music with it, and I was just so happy, because I don't think he had ever had a birthday party thrown for him, and so I just wanted to do that for him. And so the food, you know, his daughters from his previous marriage Of course, they were grown and everything, but his grandchildren and they were there. But they helped with the food, so didn't really have to spend no money on the food because, you know, everybody was sort of pitching in. But it was, you know, we decorated, whatever. But I was like, where everybody at? You know. So I was like, well, whatever. So, but I really wanted him, and it was who was there was supposed to be there, you know. But I just wanted it standing room only because I felt like at the time, you know, I wanted him to be shown that he was loved, this, that, and the other. But yeah, didn't nobody hardly come. And even his sister and his mom, she was at the time his mom was living. I affectionately call her grandma too, even though she wasn't really my grandma, but I called her grandma too. But just trying to take on family, because my own family seemed like they didn't want to be bothered with me. But they didn't come. And what's going on here? They didn't come, and it stormed real bad that Saturday. And gotta make sure get in the right lane, y'all. This place, if you ain't in the right lanes here, you done. Cause they're not gonna let you over. Not really. They may, but don't count on it. Okay, yeah, I'm in the right lane now. But cause I gotta turn right here in a minute. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so his sister didn't come. They lived in Georgia. They didn't even come. But it started storming real bad. For whatever reason, it was just, you know, that day, I think it was raining a little bit, but then, I mean, by the time his birthday celebration started, it was just like it was dark outside. It was so storming and lightning and thunderstorming or whatever. So I was like, well, but the people, you know, there was still some people on my mom's side that came. They came from Georgia, you know. They did not come. So, like I said, I don't know if it was just because I threw, you know, it was because I did it, or people, they just wasn't interested. But I really wanted his mom to be there, and I wanted his sister to be there. You know, everybody else was whatever, but I really wanted them to be there because I felt like this bus, y'all. Oh, he getting over. I don't know. I just wanted them to be there. And his mom was gonna pass away a little shortly. Cause that was, I don't know what year that was, y'all. But I can't remember what year she passed away now. But anyway, yeah, it wasn't a long time after that. I know that. I don't know how many years, but it wasn't like a great long time. But like I said, I just wanted, you know, key people to be there. But the Lord, you know, the Lord revealed to me who was there. That's who was supposed to be there. So, you know, I just left it at that. But it sort of hurt my feelings a little bit. It was a little let down because I was like, I put all of that work into that. But it's okay, because God, he gave me my reward. My dad, you know, my stepfather was happy about it. So that's all that mattered. But, you know, that was my people-pleasing era. I was just wanted to do something real nice for somebody. And like I said, I was really excited about that, you know, and that's why, like I said, I've always been that way. And it's empty in here, y'all. It's Saturday. Ain't nobody coming to get nothing done on Saturday at home or out and about. But I chose a good day because if this was any other day, it's what, 2-3 cars in here? Good. I mean, I'll be in and out. So yeah, I'm trying to find a place to park right by this elevator here. So yeah, y'all, it's dark because of course I'm in the garage thing. But I mean, it is so empty. But this is what I'm gonna start doing when but it's only for lab. It's only for lab, so don't get too excited. You can only come on Saturday for lab. So everything else Monday through Friday. But I love this. Like I said, it's super convenient. It really is. But yeah, let me finish this part and I'll continue and I can come back. But so anyway, yeah, so it was just sort of like a letdown because like I said, I had put in all that work, and my late husband, he was, he saw how I was just sitting at the desk, y'all, every day, just on the computer trying to get the music on the slideshow, and just really wanted it to be really good. And you know, like I said he enjoyed it, but my mom was telling me he, you know, was a little reluctant because she, you know, we was trying to keep it hidden from him. And she said he kept asking her a bunch of questions, like, I mean, he was trying to get out of coming, you know, because she had to make up stuff to him. He's like, what, where I gotta go? And I think I don't know if he had worked that Saturday or not at his detail shop, but she was like, just come on. And then she had to get him to come to the church, she had to act as though one of my children, because the children were little then, she had to act like they was having something at church. So they got him to wear a suit. It was so funny. But I messed with him after that. I said, what is this I hear you was being didn't want to come. What is this I hear? You know, we had that relationship. And he said, yeah, I didn't know what was going on. And then somebody, one of his friends, they almost accidentally told him that it was going to be a surprise birthday party, because they got, you know, I invited them, but they almost accidentally told him about it, and then they caught themselves, but he didn't catch on to what they were saying. So yeah, it was crazy. But again, you know, who was there was supposed to be there. You know, I think back on a lot of stuff. You know, it's certain people that's how it's been all my life. You know, when I did stuff even when we was in church and I had the young women, you know, events, handful of people come. And I remember this one guy telling me, he's from another church, and he was sort of showy at the time. I don't know if he's still like that, but he's like, is this your first, you know, function where you had, because it was like a community event thing, and at church for the young women. And I said, yeah, this is my first one. He said, that's good. You did good for your first one. You know, I was like, what? So I was like, okay, whatever. Is that supposed to be a compliment? But I got put down, because it wasn't, a lot of people didn't come to that. But I'm learning that the blessing ain't really in the numbers, y'all. It's in your obedience. It's in your sacrifice. It's in your, you know, whatever the Lord has put on your heart to do, he'll take care of it. You know, and people, like I said, a lot of people, they don't want to, they don't want stuff to go good for you. You know, they want to sit back and laugh. And I just think about, I had told my late husband, I think I had shared that with him. I said, had that been an event where that was drinking, or, you know, it had been some barbecue or fish fry, so it was in church, they couldn't drink and stuff. And then had it been something like that, you know, smoking and drinking at some clubhouse or something, it probably would have been a lot of people. But that ain't how I roll. You know, I didn't, you know, even though I didn't have a relationship with Jesus, but I was like, nope, we're having it at church. And one, I had it there because it was free. Two, I said, you know, with that our fellowship hall at that church was beautiful. It was gorgeous. And I was like, that's where we're gonna have it. I said, there's plenty of room. Everything already there, the kitchen. All we gotta do is fix the little food, whatever. I was like, why I'm gonna have it at somebody's house, or why I'm gonna rent a place? We just have it at church. I had checked with my father-in-law. He said, yeah. So, you know, it just worked out like that. But like I said, God has revealed to me, he is the rewarder of those who diligently seek him. That's Bible. And I don't, you know, I was looking for people to validate me then. And, you know, they had, you know, tell me I did a good job, you know, and God said, you did your best. That's all that mattered. And I just wanted to make him feel, you know, and a lot of people, like I said, I'm going to share a video about that later today, but it's people around you right now. They are jealous of you, and they're envious. They hating, and it goes into hating. It goes into a lot of other stuff, but they are jealous. You know, there's something about you. One, you got the mighty hand of God over your life, but they see that bright light and they try to dim it. They try to talk down to you, make you feel lesser than or whatever. But I'm gonna share that what I had to go through, and this with family. But just haters. And I was telling my because they always used to tease me. I gotta share this, y'all, and I gotta get in here and get this lab work done. But my children was my late husband, he told me too. He said, you know, you are deemed as being the favorite. You know, even though my stepfather had 4 daughters, you know, it seemed like I got in the way, you know, because I'm the one, I ain't bragging, it's the truth. I'm the one that spent all the time with my stepfather. Nobody wanted to be bothered with him. I the one went over to the house and had long talks with him. Me and him had fun, laughing and talking. Me and him went to lunch. Me and him went to Waffle House. Me and him went and picked him up. And you know, what I'm trying to think. Where did I pick him up sometime and take him to? Oh, we would ride together when we used to do the Christmas gathering on Christmas Eve. I would go pick him up. Me and the children, because my late husband, he didn't go. But we go to one of his daughter's house, and I said, Dad, I come get you. And, you know, we just had a really close relationship. I was closer to him than I was my own mama. And he wasn't even my real daddy, biological daddy. But they didn't, it started where they didn't care. It seemed like in the beginning. And then it got into, they started hating. They started getting, they ain't like, you know, I'm intruding, you know, because what it was. And I think he was being messy, but it may have been innocent. I don't know. But he had started, you know, like, say like that. One of them will come up to their house, to his house. And they be like, yeah, I want to do such and such. Yeah, and then he'll say my name. Yeah, me and her going to blah, blah, blah. We already got something planned, you know. And then it started being where I was in the way. You know, and they didn't like that, you know. Then they started doing little silly underhanded stuff. So I was like, dude, it ain't even that serious. I was like, it ain't even that serious, you know. What I was doing was genuine. I wasn't trying to be seen or nothing. But my late husband, he said that. He said, you his favorite? And he said they don't like that. And I said, I'm his favorite? I ain't even his daughter. And I said, I ain't even competing. I said, I ain't even competing with them. And he said, yeah, but they competing with you. But I'll be back, y'all. Let me get in here before it get too late. I'll be right back.